Hello and welcome to On Air. That's the online program of the Swiss AI Weeks that started today and will last another 5 weeks, and Wildcard Media. Today we welcome Yentl Spiteri and Michela Bevivino from Peach for the interactive session. No robots were harmed, using AI to bring back the soul of corporate creativity. This will be an interactive session, so have fun. You can ask questions via the chat, and Yentl and Michela will have a look at them. And now I wish you really interesting 45 minutes with Yentl and Michela. Over to you.
Thank you. So, hello everyone. Thanks for joining the session. And we're very happy to be and excited as well to see the outcome of what's going to happen in the next 45 minutes. A little intro. So I am Yentl. I'm one of the founders of beige, which is a company based in Switzerland. And we are basically bringing soul through corporate comms within companies. We use AI to do this, and we also do it we use AI as a creative partner to basically have better storytelling. We tell sharper stories, we move faster, and ironically, the tool itself or the technology itself, it makes it also feel more human. So today we're going to show you the how. How do we do this? And we will show you some examples. Also, hopefully we'll increase the confidence and the excitement that you go back to your desk and bring about something also very cool. We will do this as also our introduction said, through a collaboration, and that's why we're also going to be using a Miro board that you see also presented on screen to do some exercises together and bring something cool out as an outcome. I believe Michela already shared the screen. And we can go to a little question that we would like to ask before we actually kick off something. So many of you secretly think that AI is here to steal your corporate job. So this is more or less one of the most common LinkedIn statuses we have seen in the past months, and it's also outdated in my opinion. But maybe some people really believe that. So we're here to test the room. And yeah.
Cool. So to do so, as Yentl said, we will do a quick temperature check on Miro. So on this board, you will see a gradient, and this gradient is going from a calm blue to a burning red. And of course, this represents the different status and feelings you can have with AI. So the blue one is AI is not stealing my job. I sleep just fine at night. And if we're going more into the burning red, there is AI is absolutely stealing my job. Pass me the fire extinguisher. And if you are somehow unsure, we also prepared a character for it, and there's plenty of shade for being in the middle. So the exercise we're gonna ask you to do is you will see some characters we've created for you on top. You can just copy and paste them and put there where you feel. So I would suggest you just go with your gut instinct and not overthinking. So yes, let's start the exercise. I'm gonna give you a couple of minutes. I see a lot of blues already. We're gonna give you other 30 seconds, and then I think we can move on. feel free also to drop your feeling in the chat if it's too complex to go on Miro. Perfect. Okay, thank you so much for this. So I see just one red, which I think it's good. I would like to know what this person is doing as a job, but maybe we can do it also later. We have a lot of blues, which means that nobody of you is in panic mode with AI, and someone who is still unsure. And I guess it's just the time is gonna tell us what is gonna happen with AI. But why we're here today is also to give us our point of view on AI, and Yentl will share that with you.
Perfect. Thanks, Mick. So yes, as Michela said, so we have some people who are panicking, and hopefully by the end of the session we calm also a little bit these people down. And for the people who believe in it, I guess this is going to also emphasize how, and give you also ideas of how to use it better and inspire you in your daily work. So we look at from as one page. We are 5 years old, so we're quite a young company, and we have been using AI more or less since the beginning of whatever tool that was launched, whether it's with Journey, ChatGPT, and all of them. We do not see it as a new medium. And here we compare a little bit. We go back in history. So if we look at every innovation possible, firstly there was something, and it was a shock for people. It was almost a threat. People believed that a vacuum cleaner means that maybe women or men cannot clean the house with a mop or a broom. So this is the same concept. We have a tool here, which is a process of everything combined. So if we look at, again, the same example from before, we look at the broom as a strategy, a mop as a maybe the storytelling part of a project, and the duster is the design, whilst the AI tool is combining them together. So in the Hoover, back in the 19, I don't know what, 50s, basically brought together a tool which made life easier for people to actually do the job faster and even better. And AI is, at least the way we see it and the way we approach the topic, is in the same exact way. So we've really used the tool to bring out the hardest part of the job that maybe a human is not able to do in such a meticulous way. But ultimately, we use the human brain and soul to bring out the creativity and to help us bring about why people feel and connect with a topic or what we're going to show you later.
So you might think, since we have such an innovative process, it's a very intuitive process, it's a very democratic process, what's the catch? And the catch here is that creativity inside companies still looks and feel beige. So they're not bold, they're not expressive, they're just beige. So it's safe, they're predictable, they are almost forgettable. So we really call this the beige wallpaper of corporate creativity, and it's really a beige wallpaper. So it's there, it's covering the walls, but nobody really sees it. So why this is happening? This is happening because inside corporations, the pressure is all about execution. It's about timing, it's about process, it's about approvals. And I would say it's also about culture, because in such big environment, big and regulated environment, the culture is to stay safe and avoid to take too much of a big leap. But what's the truth? And actually, where's the gold? The gold is that these organizations are full of stories that matter. They're full of people with incredible stories. They're full with culture. They're full with values that are worth telling and that are worth sharing. But every time these big corporations try to do so, they reach the word, meaning their employees or external communication dressed in buzzwords or bullet points, something that feels very dry, something that's landing with really no pulse and no soul. But we are here because we think that's not the right way. Communication doesn't have to be beige, as a matter of fact. It has to be bold. That's what we're trying to do every day. And that's also what we're trying to do with the help of AI. So we really believed in the concept of creativity guided by humans and amplified by AI to bring back the heartbeat in such big companies. So now I hope you're curious enough to ask, how do we fight beige? So the way we're gonna do it is we're gonna bring inside what we call the pitch lab. So this is a very hands-on approach. We're gonna show you our two workflows without theory. Basically, it's very much, we're gonna show you our process. So today we actually choose two. One is about change for transformation, which is one of our main services, and the other one is for branding the unbrandable. So as Yentl said, we work with big corporates, so sometimes topic can be quite dry or subjects can be very hard to understand. So here is really, we try to give voice and character and identity to this subject that usually land in buzzwords. So I'm gonna start by taking you with me on the branding the unbrandable workflow. So for this one, we start with the first phase, which is beige in. So we start here by looking at what we have. It could be a compliance rule, a product nobody understands, or a very dry category. So here, this is what the humans do, and our role is to learn, to understand, to frame the context. And AI is helping us to strip it down to a very plain and understandable baseline. Because at the end of the day, we're not scientists. Most of us in the company are, I would say all of us are creative people. So we really need a basic definition of the subject and the field. And immediately after that, we go into the phase step 2. So we call the human direction. And here we set the creative direction of the project. So this is one of the most creative phase we have. Here we choose the story angle. We define the creativity for the brand. And here AI is helping us just to test the different framings, also to do the, let's say, the more research part on our competitor, what's better to do, what's better to avoid, to help us with some references and to structure the job. And here the output is that we're gonna create some different narrative and story angle. So usually we like to give our client at least 2 or 3 different ideas, and we try to make them really diverse one from each other. And inside the circle, you will find the tool we use for every phase. So for phase number 1, we are still staying with ChatGPT and Perplexity, depending on how complex the work that we need to do is. And for the second phase, since it's more a matter of structuring the content, we stay with ChatGPT and Notion AI mainly. Then we move to step 3. This is the spark and visualize. So here comes the exploration. Here comes the craziness and messiness of AI, but we want this phase to be chaotic. So we actually push the AI to stretch the chosen direction and to create some spark that could actually fit the brand. So here the AI is helping us to generate this multiple narrative. It's helping us creating a mood board. It's helping us with the visual and mockup. And here, at the end of the day, we have this creative direction brought to life. As I said to you before, it's a matter of creating at least 2 or 3 ideas here. And then we have the refine and frame. So here, here you will see a lot of different tools. So we go from Midjourney to Stable Diffusion, Veo, Runway, Lovart. So all the graphic and visual tool you can think of. And now then we move to the refine and frame. So here is about, it's a very important step for us human, because here we really refine the craziness and the chaos that AI gave us. So here it's a matter of refinement. It's a matter of being a perfectionist, adding the nuance, and prepare the final narrative for our client review. So here, AI is just supporting us with structuring the content and clustering. So to create a board which is very, very clean for our client to understand. And I have to say that we mainly work in Miro, so we love this tool. It's super interactive, and client can give us feedback in a very, very agile and quick way. And then we move to the final assets. So here we have the campaign direction has been chosen by our client, and we move into, let's say, cleaning up the files and preparing the brand package. So, or the campaign assets according if we're creating a branding or we're already into the campaign phase. So here it's a matter of polishing for us and refining assets, creating study guides, and AI is mainly supporting us with that. So it's gonna help us scaling, adapting the different formats and variation, polishing some copy, some visuals, and here we really like to use Figma AI. And then we have the last phase, which is still very important because most of our, actually all our process have two important things to keep into account. One is the strategy at the very beginning, and the last one is that we are very much a data-driven company. So we also iterate based on the data that we see. So here is the launch and loop phase. Here we are rolling out the brand. We are amplifying it and sharing across different channels to keep the story relevant. And it's very in the AI, of course, it's helping us with the most fundamental thing, which is tracking engagement in real time. And based on that, we iterate. So this was our first process, and I think Yentl is going to walk you through change for transformation.
Okay, so change and transformation is one of the most complex services that we offer for companies, and this is why because it involves a lot of actual human behavioral change. So whether a company is implementing a new software, whether there's a change in the management and the leadership, whether it's even a small project that needs people to behave differently, we actually create a whole strategy and communication, and actually psychologically, so we measure the psychological change and implementation of the whole process. And as Michela mentioned, through the whole flow before, we do the same for every service we have. In summary, I also don't want to bore you with most details. We will share this Miro board also later. However, for the project brief, for example, we ultimately focus on the human side of our team. We are a team of creatives, of very smart people, and ultimately what the human brain can do, AI still cannot. So we frame the goal, the strategy is all human, and then we use AI to summarize. So maybe take long briefs, pull key points fast from the client, and ultimately interpret them as our own. And here are some examples of the tools we use for that. And then as an insight of ideation, here it's also very, very human. Usually bring all the company together here, or a big part of it, and we creatively think what could apply for this change in whatever project or company we're working in. AI helps us here to consolidate the inputs and also cluster into good ways that the client can actually read them better, and we can present them in a way. But ultimately, most of the work here is actually from a human brain. Strategy, again, one AI cannot define a transformation without knowing the personas from a relationship point of view, where we get to know people. So after you establish a relationship, you know who you're working with, you know the people in a team, you can actually define the strategy of what is going to work with them. However, AI can actually cluster insights, spot gaps maybe in your thinking, and also look at inconsistency. So you can bring out the plan and say, what is missing here? What are the red flags? What is my human brain missing? And then we go into the identity and storytelling. So the way we do change and comms is the creative way, ultimate creative way. So the human, obviously, we shape the core narrative. All of us have our ideas of what a visual identity could look like. We obviously discuss this with the client as well. However, AI helps you draft quick images, also checks your tone of voice for consistency. So it's almost like a quality check kind of tool, and also can propose visual sparks. As we all know, ChatGPT and Midjourney and all of these tools can basically bring an image in a couple of seconds. This is a great start usually. as we see later, there are a lot of biases and errors, and it's hard to get an image fast and clean and perfect. So still have a lot of human input is needed there. And also this cannot be done without a clear creative direction and all the steps that we mentioned before. Then the creative campaign comes here. We look at the text, we build campaign messages. Again, obviously, there are so many tools that can give us text fast, but as one can see, and as more people use AI, we can already start detecting, even without any tool or anything, who is using ChatGPT or not. So ultimately, we need to adapt it. We need to make it look and feel human, and also people understand what we want to say in an emotive way, not just a blast from a tool. The last two steps in a change and comms projects in our case is to launch, to roll out something, whether it's a tool or a behavioral change, and to also measure the insights. Here, even though data, for example, is highly readable by AI, you still need to interpret the emotion, whether this is actually running well or not. It can also obviously, you can still compare the metrics and use the AI to track engagement, spot patterns, and also maybe consolidate feedback after a session like this one. However, emotively, we're using our own brain. We still need to see, okay, how did that feel? What were the questions that were asked and when? So ultimately, AI cannot do that. All right, so we go into what I've mentioned before, some case studies. One of them is something we love and it's not by us, and one of it is actually something we've done. The first one, and before I pass the ball to Michela, is exactly what I mentioned before. It's the errors and the bias, and here Ogilvy, in this case, did a very, very cool interpretation of that. And I pass the ball to Mick.
Perfect. So here, this is something Ogilvy did for the Adobe Summit in Las Vegas. So they just create a whole branding based on AI as failure. So they ask AI to create this fish, and they just collect basically all the AI pitfall, which is going from, you will see fish with hallucination. There is the AI bias error, drift, stereo data, everything. So they just collected all these mistakes from AI and created a unique branding. So I think this is giving us two lessons. The first one is that you can still be there's still creativity in failing, and you can take advantage of that. And the second one is that the campaign really reminds us to trust what we create, which means that we need to be intentional. So we need to take advantage of the process, of the tools that we have, but also there needs to be human intention from the beginning to the end. Intention, attention, and care. So this was the first one from Ogilvy. You can see all the different fish here, and now I'll pass the ball to Yentl.
All right. So then an example from us. So as we mentioned, branding the unbrandable. Here we had the task to brand a community. Actually, it's 35 years of heritage. It's a Swiss community launched 35 years ago. And we're basically helping the community to bring out a new identity, to also reach out to a younger generation, a younger level of entrepreneurs. And as you can see, we use the AI as we explained before. However, there's a level of human brain and emotion that we must put into to make sure that we hit the personas, the specific people we want. It's a curated community to bring out what the best way possible. And this is setting the future, basically setting the way this community is going to speak to its members, the event that is going to run, and also ultimately their online presence and identity.
Good. Perfect. So to show you how we actually work with AI, now that we have given you all our tools, we're going to play with a scenario we see all the time in corporate communication. So under the title original, you will see an email from HR. So what you need to picture is this email where the subject line is something like cybersecurity training expiration notice. And after that, you are already yawning because as much as the message is important, even more important is that it needs to be delivered in the right way. Otherwise, it goes straight from one ear to another. So let's try to use AI and our own creativity to turn this beige message into something that people might actually notice and hopefully even remember. So to do so, we have draft. Under step one, you will see the AI draft, and this is very raw and unpolished text. You can recognize from the dash. And under the step two, it's actually your turn. So we've prepared a board for you below. So we're going to ask you to join again, Miro, if you left. And what we would like you to do is, so under your text proposal, kind of copy and paste the AI draft and think of what you can do to spice up the text and to convey a message that makes more sense and that can actually stick to people. And the second board is the visual ideas. So you can either create one if you want and if you have time. Otherwise, you can just write some ideas that for you are valid to showcase such an email. So we're gonna give you 5 minutes for that, and then we're gonna show you how we would do it. Perfect. I started the timer.
Okay, we can see some people starting to fill in. We have 2.5 minutes, so whoever wants to share how they would actually reword this email from basically the AI tool to something a little bit better. All right. So the last 50 seconds, we have some cool, from what I can see here, some cool inputs already. And again, for the ones who are on their phone or just listening, we will share this board with you after the meetup. So you'll expect an email from us with the details so you can have a look later as well. Perfect. I think we can stop the timer. And ooh, someone has a visual. Very cool. Nice. All right. So thanks for everyone who participating. We have some cool ideas. And the way I say it that way is because we're going to show you how we would do it. And there are some results here which are similar. So there are some people who are editing the AI, let's say, in the right way. So it's all right to use AI. This is unavoidable, but it needs a human cleanup, whether it's visuals or especially text. So the way we do it, this would be our result. So what we do is we trim the fluff. So there are certain buzzwords that every single prompt you give to ChatGPT, especially it gives you the same buzzwords over and over. I guess it's also a matter of cleaning it up and make it sound a bit more that not everyone is speaking the same way. Ultimately, we want that the email is understandable, that the deadline is clear, and also that there is a call to action within whatever we're trying to do, that actually people have to do something and it's not just information without information. So what I loved about one of the inputs here is someone put actually for the action taken, a bullet list. And I think this could also be cool that you have 3 steps to do. Um, also, I think I like that result very much there. Um, Ultimately, because we are also very visual people, a very visual theme, we would add visuals to it, and it would not be necessarily something that is let's say something from stock, but we would think of a metaphor. In this case, it's a thief or a vigilante or someone racing against time. And this is a metaphor that we would input with it. That's good. Anyone wants to say something or make on your side?
Yeah, I really loved some of the inputs, also the mind the gaps idea. I think it's super cool, and even it's such an easy way to visualize um, this concept. So very cool.
Perfect. So if we're done with this exercise, we hope that we kind of um, excited your brain a little bit and kicked a bit of the last energy of the day from you. It's a summary of, and we're all closer to the end of the session. So what have we learned here? Also from listening to certain podcasts in the last days and weeks, AI is not a tool and we should not treat it that way. It actually also helps our brain to treat it as a teammate, as a colleague, to ask it questions. So if you have a teammate or someone in your team who is not handing you work that is up to your standard, you don't just throw it out of the window and ask a different way. You maybe mentor them, you push them, you question them, you show them how to do it. And this is how we should also use our AI tools to bring the best results in a corporate environment or even in any environment, really. But we're here to discuss the sectors we work in. So ultimately, the first results are never really meaningful. So it's a matter of prompting and getting better at communicating with the tool, and also looking at the drafts and making sure that they are going the way you have in your head and not the other way around. Um, Ultimately, the real value comes by working closer to the tool, learning also different tools have different ways of working, and it is great whether you're a technical person or not to understand the basis of where they come from, whether it's something built by a visual company like Adobe, or something which is more on the machine learning and it's more text-based. So this is something that one could also dig deeper to see ultimately who is this tool, where does it come from, as if you're working with someone from a different country. Yes, ultimately AI will bring out anything we want to it to be, anything that we want. However, to bring stories that resonate, ideas that move people, we need humans and we need it to be a partnership. So in our case, One Page, AI gives us speed, but the people in our company, in our team, give it the soul. So I pass the ball now to you guys, and you can ask us anything if anyone has questions.
And you can even use the chat for this.
Okay, we have one. So other than the fluff, what are the main differences between brand voices from AI and from you on human creators? So, next one. Yeah,
I can take it. So
I know this is essentially what you have been talking about, but if you summarize it.
okay, let me start from the first one. I think actually the fluff is what's been created by the AI. So first of all, the values that most of the time it cannot keep the same tone of voice and consistency compared to our human writers. And first and second of all, usually our writers are the one that are dictating the tone of voice because we know what's best for each company we're working with, and especially for big ones we have a specific and very strict set of rules. So there are words that needs to be avoided, there are conversation that's better to yeah, not to have. So that's what our writers do most of the time, and they're all always at the beginning and at the end of the process doing the quality control part.
Also, I think to add is what AI cannot do is actually learn human personality. So when we brand a project, we learn the people that we want to brand it with or for. So you cannot really feed this into AI because you cannot get someone's profile from LinkedIn and say, how does this person react to A or B? So this is something that also works just with human intuition. I know that Michela likes this color better than the other one just because I speak with her. And this is something that AI cannot do. So I can say, yes, generate an whatever text or logo with this color palette, but ultimately the human gut basically is going to show me whether this target group is going to vibe with this brand or not, for example.
Especially for us working with C-level people most of the time, it's about knowing them, building a relationship so that you can really get to know the shade of the person. So for, you know, AI is helping us fine-tuning when we're working on personal campaigns for these people, but then on branding for a company, for sure it can be more helpful and of support.
Any more questions? Oh, so
Thank you.
if not, we can, I guess, close slightly early, 5 minutes for your. Oh, we have another one. Did I miss? No. Okay, we get some thank yous. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for being here as well. Just to close the session, here's our contact. If you want to reach out and ask more questions, feel free. As a team, Von Pitch is a young people who are learning around AI every single day, and we try different tools and we implement them as well as we can. So it's a learn by doing also. However, we have some success stories as well. Oh, we have one last question. Maybe we can take it. So, do you think AI will ever be able to develop emotional intelligence similar to that of humans? So, there's an opinion.
Yeah, that's a very interesting question. I feel here there's not one reply, so I can give you just my insight. I feel we can for sure get closer based on also, you know, some research I'm reading lately, and also the way, you know, AI is developing. So for sure, I think we're gonna have a face in a way that it's more human and can relate better to us. And you can even just have a look of how AI evolved in the past couple of years. I think that when we started, also it was a very much different environment. Also the way AI was interactive with us, and now we have people using AI as basically psychologists. Not to say this is right, but I think people are starting to relate a lot on artificial intelligence.
Very cool. I think, yes, it could be possible, but maybe it's a long way to go. So, until now, I don't think it will happen that soon, but we'll see. Very cool. So, thanks a lot for being here. You will receive something from us as a summary and the link to this as well. And really have a good afternoon and have a nice beer or tea or coffee. So, and have the rest of this with AI weeks as well. A good Swiss AI week marathon, basically, of sessions. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.